Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Kiles. And if you wanted to hear a story about someone going from 18 million to $100 million a year producer in just 4 years, you're listening to the right episode. I've got a great friend of mine, Colleen Wood. What's up, Colleen? How are you?
I'm so good. How are you today, Steve?
I am excited because not only are you a friend, but you have a remarkable story. So we're going to get into that in just a minute. Everybody, keep in mind we are powered by the mortgage marketing animals, and today's topic is what is so exciting because here's the cool thing. Let me just brag on Colleen real quick, and then she's going to share 5 things to help you grow your business. And when you're listening to people, I think it's so important that you don't just listen to everyone's advice, but you're listening to people that have actually done what you're trying to do. And so Colleen is actually one of our coaches at the Freedom Club. It's our coaching program, phenomenal organization. She's been a member since April of 2018, so for the last 4 years, and she's a producing branch manager with Hometown Lenders. She has the Wood team, and she's been able to grow her production literally from 18 million to 100 million in 4 years. You're in for a treat. So I've invited her to do a couple of things, share her story, and give us the 5 things that we should be thinking about if we're looking to grow our production in this year. So Colleen, great to have you.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, I got to tell you, your story's remarkable, and it was cool because I got to meet your husband last year. You're out of Bozeman, Montana, just bought a big old ranch. I mean, you're living the dream, and then you're helping coach others to live the dream while you're still producing. So for those of us, or not us, I know you, but who don't know you, tell us your story. How'd you get started? How'd you get in the business? What brought you to where you're at today?
Well, I was actually recruited off a teller line out of a bank, and a mortgage broker out of a little town called Livingston, which is my hometown. She actually recruited me as her admin assistant. And honestly, I mean, like a lot of us get started, I don't think anybody ever plans to be a mortgage lender. Nobody it's like when I grow up, I want to be
Not
a
your
mortgage
career
lender.
path.
No. A lot
Yeah.
of us fall into it, or a lot of us are, honestly, we're gifted. It's a gift to learn this industry, and somebody has taken the time to teach every single one of us, and thank God for every single patient moment that we were given. So I started as an admin. I moved into being a processor, and then a loan partner, and then a licensed loan partner. And then my teacher and this was 5 years ago, my teacher was saying that she was going to retire, and I was like, 30 years old. I'm like, I'm not retiring. How could I possibly, what am I going to do? I'm going to find myself without a job. And I did not want to go work for the competition across the street at all. No way. But at the same time, I didn't want to compete with my teacher. So, she was talking about retiring, but she wasn't yet going to retire. So I'm like, I can't hitch my wagon to something that's gonna end. And so honestly, I packed up what I knew, and I went to a different market. So to me, a lot of people think differently. To me, it's an integrity thing. It just did not feel good to take business away from my teacher. So I went to a different market.
Well,
So I
hey,
went
and
to a
hey,
market I've never been to.
well, tell me this. You got in the business 5 years ago?
No. I started in 2006 is when she
Got
hired
it. Well,
me. Mhm.
dude, it's remarkable. Okay. So you got up, you moved markets, and then
Mhm.
tell us how did you get, like, where did you find the Freedom Club? How did you bump into Carl?
Ah,
Uh,
yeah.
Talk about some
Well,
of that.
the only thing that I had never done for my teacher, Cindy, was to actually sell my own loans. I'd done everything else, but I had never sold my own loans. So I went to a new market and started working for a bank, which at that time I thought I was going to get paid. Like it was a serious pay grade increase for me, but oh goodness, I knew nothing. I had no idea what I was doing. So I went to a bank and started selling for myself. And I will never forget my first mortgage consultation on my own, just totally shooting from the hip. And the guy was so smart. He was like stock trader, and he was a professional, actually he was a professional gambler. And so he was super smart and kind of put me off a little bit. But anyways, I started selling my own stuff, and very, very quickly, I knew that I was good at it, but that I knew that I couldn't do any better. I was working crazy hours, and still a mom, still a wife, still doing all the things that we're all doing. And I knew that I couldn't grow. And I actually found Carl, his social media stuff kept rolling through my feed. And I reached out and got set up to talk to Ralph. And Ralph, I mean, I still credit Ralph for changing my life, because I'll never forget, it was a very secret call, right? Because you're at a bank, and I closed my door, and it was a very, headphones, and he just enlightened me, and he gave me confidence to know that it didn't have to be like this for the rest of my life. But he also helped me to understand that I couldn't do what I wanted to do at a bank. They weren't going to support me in doing that. The conversation was, the loan officer makes the most money, so they do the most work. And so I knew that wasn't going to work. So I signed up for a 3-day, or I guess it was a 2-day event.
I love it.
And
we have them almost every other month. We do the 2-day boot camps at mastermindretreats.com. Yeah, that's huge. So you went to one.
Yeah.
And that was where you started learning more about the DSP. Hey, and let me tell everybody this too, because I think your story is so remarkable. And what you did was, we talk about it all the time on the podcast. Go to freedomplanningcall.com, and it's still the same Ralph, and it's Mike, and it's Erica, and it's Blake, and we got a team that are doing these strategy calls. But you literally call, and we just help you roadmap the next 12 months and how do I implement in 90 days. And it's our gift to you. And then if you say, hey, I'd like coaching, help me get better, then we'd love to help you with that. But you did it, and look at where you're at. Your story, like, I just think about $18 million. And then with strategy and structure and scripts and the drive, like, you've got a passion to win. So you just need a little bit of direction. And that's what the coaching does. It helps us all, and you went from 18 to 100 million. Girl, like, that's no small feat, but it's remarkable.
Thank you. So I went to Vegas, and honestly, I met Carl and Tammy, and I'll just be honest with you. I sat there in the front row, and the tears were just rolling down my face. Carl and Tammy just opened my eyes to what was possible in my life. I had no idea what I could do for my family, that I could be a hero of my family, and change our lives. Like, it was literally in those days, like, everything opened up, and I just said, I don't care how much this costs. I will close another loan every single month to pay for my coaching. I filled out the form for the coaching, and I ran it to the back of the room. I'm like, I am going to be the first one to submit this. I am so excited. I think I must have hugged Carl awkwardly long, like 4 times. I was so grateful.
Oh, it's awesome.
So he, at that moment, became my guru. Seriously, I'd say he's my guru, because he changed my life. And I went back home and quit my job at the bank and started with a company that I could grow my team with.
Yeah.
And from that point, we named it the Wood Team, came up with a name on the airplane on the way back. And we started growing our team, and I started hiring people. So, and it's all history from there.
Man, I love it. Well, and today, share, looking back. So 4 years to some people would feel like an eternity, but I got to tell you, because it's just, sometimes you look back and you're like, man, 4 years is a long time. But let me encourage our listeners, if you're closing 2 loans a month or 4 loans a month, you were telling me 4 years ago, your average units were 4 units a month. With a plan, with consistency, it's what we talk about on the podcast, with a process, with the, what do I do every single day? Am I making the outbound calls? Do I have a daily success plan? You can grow from 18 million to 100 million. It's not inconceivable. If Colleen can do it, if Steve can do it, if insert in your name or somebody else who's been a part of Freedom Club can do it, you can do it. And I just want to encourage people that it's just about getting started today. So I asked you as we came on, what are the 5 things, looking back, knowing what you know now, sitting in the chair you're in, because it's a remarkable business, girl. What would you tell us? What are some of the things that'll help us grow our businesses to the next level? Give us 5 things.
I think right off the bat, one of the simplest things, and also one of the hardest things for LOs to do, is you have got to stop being your own secretary. You have to. You cannot control your day if you spend the entire day in reaction mode, responding to people's phone calls, their emails, and everything. You can't get anything done. You're just you don't know what your day is going to look like. You certainly can't allot time to be making outbound phone calls or having realtor meetings when you're your own secretary. And if you do the math on it, you would never pay a secretary how much you're actually paying yourself to be your own secretary. So that's got to stop. Like, that's when, with my coaching clients, that's the number one thing that I say, like, that's the first thing. So we can grab hold of your day is you've got to stop answering your own phone. And that is such a simple, easy hire. It doesn't take anybody with any experience. I've run a ton of admin assistants through my team to model the same way that I was taught. Everybody starts at the front desk, and it's a gift to bring somebody new into the industry to teach them right from the front desk. So start there.
Love it. Get it. You got to stop being your own secretary. Come on, talk to me, coach. What else? Got it.
Stop being your own secretary. And then the other thing about answering your phone, there's two questions they ask. Are you calling about a new application, or are you calling about an application in process? If they're calling about a new application, have your secretary guide them to, number one, an online application. Number two, a consultation with somebody who can write your loans, whether that's you or not. But get them on a calendar and give them something to do with their hands. The other question, is this the loan in process? Yes, it is. Super. That question goes to the processor. That does not ever go to me. I don't know anything about my loans in process. Not one thing. You don't want to ask me, because I'm going to have to ask my processor anyways. And that takes me out of the sales role and puts me in a processor role. I'm not a processor. I have a processing team for that. So right there, it splits your calls in half, and you just shut your calls down by 50%.
Wow. Great strategy. Love it.
Number two, building a team that you trust, and be willing to make bad hires. I actually was starting to count all the people. I've probably gone through 25 people in 4 years, and I'm really okay with it. So there's the team that got you where you are now is not going to be the team that's going to take you to the next level. And it's okay. You hire the best that you have access to at the moment, or that you think that you're worthy of, which I'll tell you is not a good strategy. You hire what you can hire, and then you utilize them for as long as it works. And then there's a moment sometimes that it doesn't work anymore, whether it's a personality thing, or we're just not on the same page. We are not rowing the boat in the same direction. They're drilling holes in my boat, and then they got to go. You got to have a team that believes in you and that you can trust that they're going to do their job. But if they don't believe in you, they have to go. What's the song? It's we don't keep people around that don't believe that I deserve what I deserve, And if you have anybody, like I had people that were in my conference room during our meetings, and I could feel that they didn't believe in me and they didn't trust what it was. Those people have got to go. You have to protect your heart in this process. And when you're doing this and you're creating it, your heart is very, very tender. So you can only have people around you that are going to support you and believe in you, and they're going to do their job. So,
Colleen, dude, you are on fire. It goes back to this. We get so stuck in, like, it's almost like we feel like we're not worthy. Number one, to have people that believe in the dream, right. But number two, how could I let people go? And one of the greatest things is recognizing that it's okay if you make a bad hire, just like a barber. If I went in to go get a haircut and they cut this thing like a lawnmower and it's like they scalp me, I don't quit getting my haircut. I just go to a different barber. Same way when we're hiring people, if we make a mistake, just let them go quickly. How do you know whether to let them go? Measure the metrics. Like on the front end, there's metrics. Are they hitting the metrics? Are they bought into the vision? And do they trust me to lead them to where we're going? And if they're not hitting metrics, they're not bought into the vision, and they don't trust me, just make the decision to where we're going to top grade. I absolutely love it. Carl said something this last week. He and I did a podcast on his podcast. And you know what? One of the things we talked about is this: loyalty has an expiration date. I think so many times, Colleen, and me included, it's like we want to be fiercely loyal to the people that helped us get here. And listen, we are. But the challenge becomes this: like, if you're trying to grow and they say, no, I'm not willing to, or we say, hey, listen, we're going to implement our Just Ask Tuesday update with our loan partners. And they say, you know what? I don't feel comfortable. I'm not going to be able to do it. Okay. but I'm not going to stop building my process because you're uncomfortable asking.
Right.
Either you can learn to ask or we'll find somebody else who can. And I think we tend to get stuck with, oh, they won't do it. Well, it goes back to Colleen, that statement we say all the time, I choose. Then
Mhm.
I choose to be stuck at whatever your production is this year and
Mhm.
not grow to the next level. Because to grow from 18 to 100 million, Colleen, you have to have a team that's
Mhm.
saying goodbye the same way. They're asking for the business at the end of the call. They're following your process. What a huge revelation. And the faster we can realize our team, and I love the way you said it, who got us here may not be the ones who get us there, and be okay with it, because loyalty has a shelf life.
I think something that's really important too is that I would think a really great example. I had a really great processor and a closer for a long time, and they got me a long ways. And then suddenly the processor, even though she was a really great processor and she can move heaven and earth, and she was a phenomenal firefighter, smart as a whip, her attitude and her belief in me and what she thought my role was, we were not in the same boat. And then she spread that kind of poison to my closer. I fired them both in the same week. And so I went down to from a team of 4 to a team of 2, and in a week. And you have to be willing to do that. You have to be willing to remove people, even if it hurts really bad, because when they left, I got a much, much, much better replacement. It opened the door for new people that were better. And the processor I have now is the most amazing human. Her name is Angel. And she
Come
came to
on.
me at a time that I was like, her name is Angel.
Yeah.
Like, it came to me at a time that I was just gutted. And here she came, and she has changed my business. So be willing to get rid of people, not just because they're not a good at their job, even if they're good at their job, but they're not a good human for you and they're not healthy for you. You have to be willing to move up.
That's so good. All right, let's go. What's number 3?
Number 3, you've got to prioritize your realtor relationships. And I know that it's really hard, especially when you're newer and you're like, they don't want to talk to me, I'm just bothering them when I call them. But I will tell you, it's the little bitty realtors that act annoyed or don't have time for you. The big players, the ones that you have to like muster up the guts to call, and you're like kind of scared to talk to them because they're such a big player, those are the really genuinely good people, and they see what you're doing and they identify the model. I mean, a lot of these really great realtors have also gone through a coaching program of their own, and so they see what you're doing. I get asked all the time from realtors, are you like, do you do Buffini, or what is it that are you in the core? And no, I'm not. I'm with Mortgage Marketing Animals, and Carl White is my guru. And I just tell them that, and this is the model that I follow. They identify it and they know what the work is, and they see it and they're like, yes, you're doing it and nobody else is doing it. So go ahead and run for the bigger players. Don't just try to pick up the little baby agents because they're not as intimidating. My best friends in this industry are absolute whales, humongous whales. And it took me years, you guys, and it's not gonna turn around in 2 seconds. You're not just gonna like, they're not just going to become your best friend. I've been doing this for 4 years, but the friends that I call friends are big players. So you have to prioritize your realtor relationships. You must go have genuine conversations with them, actually care, be their friend, make new friends. You don't go to them just to try to get something from them, because that's what everybody else is doing. Support them and help them grow genuinely and passionately.
Fire. I mean, that's so well said. And I think as you're prioritizing your realtor list as well, what's interesting, Colleen, we talk about the Focus 40, a part of the DSP. So my team, I'm a producing branch manager, and we go through our Focus 40 the first week of every month. And, we had over 40 on it. But do you know, on it, Colleen, we only had this month, it was something like 43 agents that referred and closed a loan in the last 90 days. But out of those, Colleen, only 12 were qualified. Can you believe that?
That's
Like,
amazing.
I mean, and so I just think what we did was we took our eye off the ball and
Mhm.
started saying, man, isn't it great seeing all these agents that are referring? But then you're saying, well, why is the lead count down? Well, it's because we 12 are only 12 out of the 40 plus are qualified. And
Right.
so, and I think that even when you're talking about prioritize realtor relationships, you got to remember, if they know, like, and trust you, but they don't have business, you're not going to grow.
It
So
doesn't
make
matter.
relationships with the qualified ones, but you've got to be intentional. And if you want to see those forms, go to freedomplanningcall.com. We'll be happy to show you what we're using to track the activity, the Focus 40, and how we look at it. Absolute fire. I love it. What's number 4? 2 more.
Well, genuinely care for your clients. Show them that you care. People are in dire need of being led well right now. And that is, that's what you say, Steve, and I've used it over and over again. People are begging to be led well. And we, as leaders in lending, we need to be leading our clients and leading our realtors and leading our communities. And this is not a, Chicken Little, sky is falling, running around like an idiot. Most realtors don't know what to do to get their properties under contract. They need help from us. They're scared that they're going to lose their business. Our clients are scared that they're not going to be able to buy a home, and it is hard. So genuinely care, develop tools, and partner with your realtors. We just unrolled it's a guarantee program, you guys. So we have a true approval program, which is a TBD underwrite, and we just put a $5,000 guarantee behind it. And that means, and it's the idea came from Marcus from Minnesota. So plug to Marcus from Minnesota. Thank you for inspiring me. And to come up with this program, give your realtors and your clients a tool to be successful. Think outside the box. Think outside of just sitting there and quoting rate and fee. Give them something. Talk to them about being able to invest in real estate and how that creates generational wealth. Talk to them about building strong families through owning a home. We know that, right? We know that in our hearts. Say it out loud and help people to wrap their mind not around the purchase price, but around the payment and the fact that your rent is paid at 100% interest, and you will never gain anywhere. You're never going to pay down a principal on your rent. It's just money going in the toilet. So even when prices are higher and payments are higher, we have to lead our clients well to help them to understand how their money is better spent in a mortgage instead of with rent.
Wow. You're on fire. Okay. Number 5. Here we go. Tell us number 5th one.
Get your mind right. This is a hard business, and the better you do, the more arrows you're gonna have thrown at you. And get really comfortable with people putting a target on your back. When I go out in my market and I do things like I unroll this $5,000 guarantee, how many arrows I'm going to get thrown at me about that. And it's okay. Get excited about people not liking you because they're intimidated by you. I can't tell you how many people I've said, you're intimidating. You cannot make yourself smaller just because it makes other people feel uncomfortable. And that's why we're in this club, because we're like-minded people that can get together and say, I made $1 million last year. Where are you going to go with that? So, but you got to get your mind right, because there's a lot of us that are like, I'm not worthy of that. I know I hired inexperienced people for the longest time because I didn't feel like I was worthy of having experienced help. And that was just not true. So you have to get your mind right and saying, I deserve this. People want to talk to me. I help every single person that I talk to. I help. I don't do root canals. I don't harm people. I help people with every single conversation that I'm doing, whether it's realtors or it's clients or whatever it is. Get excited about calling, and you should feel bad when you don't make your calls, because you're not helping people that really, really need help right now.
Colleen, the fire that you're spitting, I mean, it is, you're 100% on fire, but you know what you've done though? You've changed your mindset to where it's like, I'm hurting people if I don't call because I know I can help. And that's the passion. It's interesting when your prospecting goes from a place of defense to a position of offense, everything changes. I can remember 4 or 5 years ago, I was really still struggling with the outbound calls. And I'm sitting here saying, Colleen, oh, I hate it. That's literally the self-talk I would have in the mornings. We make our outbound calls from 9 to 11, but I would sit there and say, oh, I hate these calls. I don't want to make these calls. I don't want to meet with these agents. And I'm in counseling. Thank God for counseling. And I can remember going to Tim, my counselor, and just saying, man, help me with this. I'm really struggling. And what we did was we began to transform the mindset of, hey, I love to prospect, because prospecting allows me to meet people with similar vision, values, and beliefs. It also increases my influence so that I can continue to make a difference in the community I serve. And I hear that in what you're saying. It's like, hey, I'm hurting people if I'm not making calls. I'm hurting people if I'm not making relationships with agents. Why? Because we know how to help them be in a much better position. And when that light switch flips, I think that's part of the success, because you realize it's no longer about me. I can't play small. I have to play big so that I can help others make a difference in their lives.
100%. Ed Milet came out and said, there's 4 ways that you can show up to this world. You can show up as a victim. Everything's happening to me. Nobody likes me. I'm only going to, I never have enough money, blah, blah, blah. That crap that goes through our head that's so debilitating. You can show up as invisible, which is most loan officers, right? They're just invisible. They're just a servant. They take dictation from realtors, and they get run over all the time, and they're not seen by their community. They're not seen by maybe their family. They're just kind of existing. And then there's the hero level, which is where a lot of us have been in the Freedom Club, where we become the hero of our own family, become the hero of our team. We've created incomes and jobs and careers and all these things for people. We're somebody's hero. But once you've reached that level of hero, then you can't, like, your next level is not like, I'm an extra good hero, because, this year I closed 200 million. That doesn't make you like an extra good hero. There's no passion behind that. And that's not enough, because we've all, those of us that have done really well, we've made really good money, and we've realized that money is important, but it's not the end all be all. So the next level is your servant leader. And that's when you change your mindset into how you come into for your employees, for your clients, for your realtors. You need to help lead them. You need to help them to do better themselves, and show them how. It's your obligation to show them how. And it should be what gets you up in the morning.
I love it. Well, Colleen, this has been a remarkable 25 minutes. I want to say thank you for being a part of not only the Freedom Club, but man, what a great coach. Colleen is one of our coaches that are coaching members who say, hey, I want to break barriers. I want to go from 18 million to 100 million. This is why you're here. These 5, not just strategies, but really it's so impactful. Stop being your own secretary, build a team that you trust, prioritize realtor relationships, genuinely care for your clients, and get your mindset right. I put it here. Don't make yourself small. Man, I love it. Colleen, thank you.
I want to say one other thing.
Come on, say one more thing, girl. You
say
can
one
say
more
as many.
thing.
Come on.
When we're kids, somebody is disciplining us, right? Your mom is saying, it's time to go to bed. You have to brush your teeth. Well, I don't want to go to bed. Too bad. It's bedtime and you got to brush your teeth. And you have somebody that's putting a thumb on your forehead and making you do what you want to do, what you need to do. When you're an adult, we don't have anybody that's saying, hey, you need to make your calls. It's time to make your calls. Make your calls, or it's time. You haven't been out with a realtor all week. What's going on? Nobody is saying that to us. So we have to be our own mama, like you gotta, what that is discipline, right? We have to create discipline of ourselves. So if you have a power list, it's like 5 things that you write down every single day, like, and to start it off every single day. These are the 5 things I need to do today. I'm going to make my calls. This is daily success plan, right? Like, I'm going to make my calls. So 13 hellos, 5 handwritten cards, 3 face-to-face meetings. Put that on your power list. For me, it's been like working out and then, not eating garbage. And so put that stuff on your power list and check it off. Hold yourself accountable. It is not optional. And at the end of the day, if you've completed all the things on your power list, on your daily success plan, you checked them all off, you've won the day. And if you can win every single day of the week, and then you're going to win the month, then you're going to win the year. And that's how you make massive, massive change. Hold yourself accountable and create discipline in your life.
Wow. That's it. Hey, thank you for being on the podcast. I think it's a phenomenal way to end the podcast. Also, if you want to learn more about what we're doing at the Freedom Club, hey, we've got a free gift. It's a strategy call, which is so funny because Ralph is still doing the strategy call. So
I love Ralph.
Go to freedomplanningcall.com, freedomplanningcall.com. Book a time with us. Let us help you build your plan. Hey, and it's our gift. There's no cost. Do it. And then at the end, you say, hey, I want help with it. We could talk about what help looks like as well. But also for our listeners, I want to say thank you for being a part of the community. If you think that this is an episode that you know another loan officer it'll help, would you do me a favor and right now stop? Go to iTunes or Google Podcasts, wherever you're consuming it right now, and hit that arrow button that says share, and literally share it to two other loan officers today that we can help continue making a difference. That's the one thing I'd ask you to do. The other thing, I do want to give a shout out to just everybody who's giving us a review on the podcast. Matt, Ivan K literally gave us one this week. It says it's a must listen podcast. No matter how long you've been in the industry, whether you're a sales or ops, you must subscribe and listen to the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. Steve will help you take your skills to the next level, and he does it with a servant's heart. Keep up the great work, Steve. God bless you, brother. And Ivan, just wanted to say thank you for the review on the podcast. So do this. Share it with someone, two loan officers who this will benefit. Subscribe to the podcast, and then make sure and go give us an honest review. We appreciate you being a part of this community. Colleen, you're a remarkable person. You're a gifted coach. Even as I sit here and writing this down, I'm just like, man, how good is it for the members you're coaching to just keep focused on what really matters. So thank you for being a coach with us. Thank you for being my friend. And you make me better. I know it is so cool to be around people like you, because every time I'm with you, I'm taking away nuggets that help me lead my team and my branch better as well. So thank you, Colleen.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. Hey, everybody, have a great afternoon. Remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.